live. We are live. We are live. Ba, 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 ba. Okay. Can I just go to the stream, please? Okay, whatever. Pop that out. Pop that out. Sure. Sure. Do I have my chats? I have my chats. Okay. Okay, let me get my other monitor set up here. Boo, boo, boo. Okay. Okay, are we good? Are we on? Let's run the game. Do some things. There's the game. There it is. There it is. Okay, wait, what else do I need to set up here? I've forgotten entirely. Hi, mister. You were so wet, buddy. Okay. So I think I kind of finished up the velocity processor optimization yesterday. I did notice some jitter bugs, some little jitters that I think I'll need to take another pass at. I'm gonna do that at some other point though and move on to something else because that's what I want to do. Fine, I'm on this side of the fence because yesterday upset you. Oh, I was just memeing. Go to whatever channel you like best. Whatever viewer experience you like best. You know, I don't do the midstream ads, so after the pre-roll on Twitch, it's probably the same experience if you don't want to rewind or anything. But yeah, I found out that YouTube has raids, actually. Did you know that, Turning Cog? Did you know that? Because I didn't. Look at this. Live redirect is what they call it. And guess what? It is super not useful and super hidden, which is a very, as Prismatica said just a few moments ago when I was in his stream, that sounds very YouTube, and I'd have to agree. I'd have to agree. It turns out you have to like opt into it. By default, only channels I subscribe to can redirect to my content, which I found to be weird. Like that kind of defeats the purpose of like rating another channel, because like I feel like a lot of times like you meet new people, you find out about new channels and stuff like that through rating. At least I have. That's been my experience. So it's weird to me that this is not the default. I was watching the Beegs Pirate Software interview and they talked about that. Oh, really? I'll have to watch that too. What did they mention? Yeah, I'm definitely trying to curate like a list of like clips and videos or resources where people talk about YouTube Live and how it goes. So if you see anything like that, let me know. I have no idea like how new this is. Like I've never heard of this before. They mentioned it was garbage to use. Yeah, I can already imagine a few ways that it would be better. And also you have to end your stream and then it goes, which isn't, it's just different. It's different than Twitch, right? It's just different. And I don't, because like in Twitch you have the problem of like you might forget to stop your stream. So I can actually see like ending the stream and that triggering the raid as being actually a better user experience in some way. In some ways. So yeah, hit me with that link if you got it. But if you don't, it's fine. I could probably find it later. But hello. Good morning, everyone. Good morning. what did we do yesterday? I kind of finished off what I was going to do with my velocity processor that, like, you know, moves these guys around in the world and makes sure they don't fall through the ground. And, oh, there he goes. He's going to eat some food. Animations are kind of bad on the VAT, guys. But I think we finished that off. There's some jittery movements for sure. And I wonder if that's just on the actors. I wonder if the static meshes actually move. They're a little jittery too, but I don't think they're as jittery as the actor versions are. Yeah, that's mostly okay. So I think it's just the actors. But I'm gonna figure that out later. Oh hell yeah, he's got the sauce. Hell yeah.
This interview was carried out as part of my video,
Nice. Thank you for that, Turning Cog. Yeah, I'll have to figure out also when it came out and like what team works on that. I have some suggestions and some things that I would like to do with it. And maybe they'll let me. We'll see. It's long and good. Interesting. Is he grilling Pirate Software? Or is he being nice to Pirate Software? Anyways, yeah, this is my game. Hello, look at my game. Ignore that. That's bad. Ignore that. I have an RPG Colony Sim Roguelite that I'm working on with procedural destructible terrain. So this is all like procedurally generated. This is just one world, you know. Each time you create a character, you can create a new world, and they'll all be different. Here's the world map. All of these are my zones. They're my zones, and you can't have them. But each of the different colors right now, that just represents a different biome. I will have like many more, and right now I only actually have 2 of these actually filled out. Right now we're looking at like the forest biome. So this is what the forest biome looks like. And each of these zones are like distinct. They have borders to them, and there's entrances to and from the zones. That's what the white dots are. And so they have different names, and then I'll have AI generated quests or LLM generated quests that kind of do some really fun stuff. This is called like the Ageless Woods. This is Howling Fjord, Festering Bog, Blightwood Thicket, Raven's Roost, Ghostwind Mesa, Ancient Forge, Emberwatch Crag, Ethereal Plain, Whispering Caves. Yeah, a lot of work to do, but hopefully those names will get grounded and will reflect what the zone is and what is in there, like all the different mobs that can spawn in there, the different assets that can spawn, the different enemies. You know, maybe there's some caves and stuff. We do have those. The caves don't really have a whole lot of a point right now. They don't have a whole lot of point right now. There's just some mushrooms in here that you can grab, and you can get wood from these roots. You can get some shitty twigs. Eventually there's going to be ore down here, you know, it'll kind of like Minecraft, where you'll want to go down in there to find ore. Send your colonists down in there potentially. It's running a lot smoother than a few days ago. Well, I haven't changed anything in relation to the smoothness, but well, actually no, I did actually. I found out that I was logging vlog I was like starting game thread tasks for vlogs, even though the vlogger wasn't on. So I think turning those off actually increased my frame rate by like 10 FPS. But that would have just been an in-editor thing anyway. The vlogs never would have happened in a shipping build. Hello, friend. Sarah Hayes. Welcome in. I just like your stream. I will like to stick with you and forever be a forever fan. Kindly add me on. I'm not adding anyone on Discord. I'm not adding anyone on Discord. But hello and welcome. It sounds like you're selling art. Yeah. All of the people who are like, add me on Discord. Yeah. But anyways, welcome in nonetheless. This is my game. This is my garbage. Look at my garbage. Look at it. It's mine. You can't have it. These are the terrain chunks. So each little square here is a terrain chunk. And so when I look at this map, you can see it's all like pixely. And that's because each pixel on here is a terrain chunk. And so you'll see some information up here for like altitude and noise and stuff. And these are all like parameters that go into the terrain generation and inform it. And so like right now, there should be borders around the zones, mountain borders. And then there's like a little entrance here, and then it goes into a different zone. And so you'll see that that entrance is right here because there's a break in the mountains right there. So that's how you can get from zone to zone. And if there is no entrance from zone to zone, sometimes you can find like a cave. So here is a, here's another border right here between the two zones. It's the same two zones, but imagine it's a different zone. You can, if you find this cave, you can come out the other side. What are the dark fog of war looking parts? That's ocean. That's ocean. Because the darkness and lightness of every pixel is the altitude of it. And so altitude of 0 is black, altitude of 1 is white. And so down here, they're super bright. The altitude is 1. So this zone is probably super high. If it has, well, it's the swampy noise, so probably not. But some of these zones, like the mountain one, is probably pretty high. Altitude of 0.83 on these. And then the altitude is 0 for the oceans. And so like the first... This map first gets generated like looking like this. So this is like this is the height map kind of. This is the altitude map. And then I apply the biomes on top of it using, you know, Voronoi. I just create a bunch of Voronoi cells, which all look very samey, very same shapey. But then I go through each cell and I just pick a color and assign it to it. And then that's what creates these interesting looking shapes. Like these are all just individual Voronoi cells that got connected together because they're the same color. And then I iterate through all the pixels, and then I build out each zone by like adding each chunk into the zone and figure out where its you know, border chunks are so I can build the mountains and stuff like that. Your game is not garbage. I'll be the decider of that. We can have it when we test it. Yeah, in 5 years. In 5 years. Got a little bit of combat. It's gonna be like kind of like WoW style combat. Oh, where's my bow? Oh god. Okay. Oh god, I didn't know he was a caster. These guys are actually kind of hard. Oh god, I barely won. Quite unique map generation, to be honest. Kudos to you. Thank you. Yeah, it's kind of the pride and joy of the project so far is the procedural map generation. Like I said, it will be destructible as well, and I've proof of concepted that. It kind of sucks at the moment though, and by kinda I mean it absolutely sucks. Let me see if I can even get it to work. Yeah, so sometimes it just doesn't even deform the terrain. I wonder if it's like a direction thing, like if I face this direction. Even the sounds are from WoW. Yeah, they're borrowed. I repoed some sounds. And can you actually hit the ground? Okay. I want you to actually... This is my own homemade pickaxe animation, which is so bad. And this is why I don't make my own animations. Dude, it's not even working at all anymore. Did you make the character animation? I did on that one, yeah, can you tell? That animation and then this one. Those are both mine. But these ones are like ones that are... That's a WoW anime. Those are both WoW animations, actually. And I was able to rip them and retarget them onto the Unreal Engine skeleton. Why does how pickaxe go through him? Because it sucks. That's why, okay? Is that what you want to hear? What happened here? Is this a crash? Or just an assertion? Oh no, it's a crash. We've got a crash. What were we doing here? Oh, weird. Wait, what was it? Was something null here? What is ability here? Yeah, the ability definitely does not seem to be correct. Resolve object handle, no read. What interesting. Maybe I should just add it, or there is no ability in there. Never seen that one. That's a new one. That's a new one. Did your pickaxe crash the world? No, that was actually an animation thing. Likely from one of the entities doing something. I don't know. Character looks like mascot from Michelin tires. He's not that fat. He's not that fat. Well, welcome into everyone. We're working on a video game. I know it doesn't look like it right now because we're waiting for it to build, the editor to build. It's going to be a RPG Colony Sim Roguelite with procedural destructible terrain. So I'm thinking something like Vanilla WoW minus the MMO, plus Colony Sim like RimWorld if you play that. But if you haven't, it's a very depthy Colony Sim where like just crazy random things happen. And then a roguelite, something maybe like Hades, very gods-like. And so the flow is going to be, you spawn into a procedural, unique world, and there's all these different zones that you can go and explore that have different biomes, different enemies, different resources, and then you can come across colonists in the world, and you can recruit them to your colony. Here's the procedural terrain. This is just one seed that we've been using to test. And you can come across colonists, you can recruit them, and then you can build like a little colony. So there's like a building system, kind of survival light I'm hoping to go for. And you can start to build your colonists all this cool stuff and rooms and houses and all that. And then you can send them to go chop trees and farm and mine. I've got dynamic tree chopping, which is kind of cool. I have not seen any game do this so far. I say as the game just massively lags. But yeah, wherever my axe, if my animation doesn't suck, wherever the axe comes into contact is where it actually ends up chopping. So these are actually these are like static meshes, and then they turn into dynamic choppable meshes whenever I hit them. And so then you get some wood in your inventory. Eventually I'll make it to where the colonists need to take this log to a lumber mill or something like that. And yeah, those are good physics. That is what would happen in real life. So don't question it. Don't question that at all. Did you make your own custom version of Unreal or just the normal one Epic gives everyone? This is just the normal one. This is just UE5.6. 5.6. And then as you level up, you'll get to pick from like random abilities, kind of like maybe almost like a survivor like game, like Vampire Survivors or Deep Rock Survivors, where you got like 3 things to choose from when you level up and you get to pick one. It'll probably be every few levels, but you'll start to build out like all these different abilities. And then you have talent trees. The talent trees will be the same, I think, every run. And so you'll have to kind of like pick, and that's like one way to like have some level of non-randomness each run, right? Some groundedness in your character build. So as you level up, you can pick talents too that hopefully complement what abilities you've got. How do you insert a cut at the interaction point? I use the geometry script library functions. Have I ever played Skyrim? Who hasn't at this point? I think everyone has. My toaster has played Skyrim, I think, actually. Yes, I have played Skyrim. I have played Skyrim. And one thing I want to do with the Colony Sim side of things is, let me zoom out here a little bit. So this is, I'm just generating a very small radius right now around the player, just for testing. It's probably only about this big around the player. But I want like the whole world to be online and running, which games don't normally do because they don't need to, right? Why would they be running NPCs when the player isn't actually there? That's just wasted resources. But for me, I want there to be like AI colonies that you can interact, like different factions and stuff that like send raids to you and stuff, or maybe you can ally with and trade with. And so I want those to be running at all times, right? And maybe you build a colony here, but then you run all the way over to the other side of the world. I want your colony to still be running, right? And if you send some guys out to the forest to go chop wood, like you're not going to get the wood until they chop it and bring it back. And if there's like some wolves in the forest, those wolves might attack them. And so you'll need to make sure that your colonists have the proper gear, are leveled up properly and stuff like that so that they don't die. And when they die, they die. Like, I don't like games nowadays. A lot of games make it to where you can't make a bad decision to make like everything's viable, and it just for me, it just kind of makes me feel like none of my choices matter. If everything is good, then it feels a little shallow, a little hollow to me. So I definitely want there to be some wrong decisions you can make. And you know, if you make a bad build, you won't be able to progress, or you may die at a certain point. You may need to start over or roll a new build or something like that. Is that the WoW question mark? Yes. Okay. I acquiesced some WoW assets. It's fine. I'm giving them back. I will give them back when I get my own. If you all want to give me some free assets, I will receive them with open arms. Have you thought about ways of transportation? Since the map is huge, I assume it would take a long time to walk around. It would, and I have. I do like the WoW form of flight paths to where it's not instantaneous. I like that because it still gives you the sense of the world. You're still moving around in the world. You still get that. It doesn't, you know, I don't want flying mounts. That sucks. I maybe don't even want regular mounts. That kind of sucks. Sometimes that can suck too because it trivializes the world. That's the thing. I don't want the world to be trivialized. I want to respect the world as a game designer, a game developer. And so I actually want, like, take WoW flight paths, except they're set up by the player. And so you actually have to go find and tame a griffin out in the world, and you need a colonist. You need like an animal handler colonist to run the flight path, right? Maybe you even need, maybe per flight path you need 2 griffins, and then you need an animal handler at each colony, wherever you decide to place the flight point at. So fast travel, I think that's going to be the main form of fast travel. I think super in-game, I will allow some portals, but maybe you can only get like 4 or something, right? So you can put like a portal over here, up there, you know. But that'll be like super in-game. I don't want the instant loading screen teleportation, really, for the most part. I would rather just have the Griffin flight path that is built by the player, so that there is some upfront cost to it. You know, there is some investment by the player, and the player can also decide where they think is important to set the flight paths too. So yeah, and I think I want to facilitate colony trading quite a bit. So I think I will have some like trade carts or trade caravans that maybe you can hop on. Which game engine? This is Unreal Engine 5. Can we have some necromancy so I don't lose my villagers? I have some plans. You will lose your villagers, but maybe there are some things you can do to bring them back in a not so normal state. If that's your idea, how are you going to handle memory usage? It's going to load everything. So here's what I've been doing. I'm so glad you asked. So you see how we're looking at the nav mesh right now. And so you see how there's no terrain here? This is not just invisible. I did not set the terrain invisible. What I do is I save the index and vertex buffer data, which I'll show you what that looks like. This is like all the triangles that make up the terrain. It's really laggy, so give me a second. So give it a second to show. But I save all of the vertex and index buffer data, and you can just save that, and I can export that to the nav mesh, and the nav mesh knows what shape that makes. And so here, it's probably starting to show up, but here are all the triangles right now. So there's a lot of triangles. We'll turn that off so I can actually move around in the world. And so that's why the nav mesh is still there. And that's also the same reason why there is stuff spawned here. Like the spawning is based on that too. So I take all that vertex and index buffer data and I store it in a spatial data structure, like a bounding volume hierarchy. And that's kind of what collision is. So I've kind of built my own collision system for the terrain to save on memory. Like I don't need to actually build the meshes. I don't need the meshes actually build. I save a lot of memory by doing that. And I can spawn these things here because I can use that bounding volume hierarchy index buffer data as an almost collision. And I wrote my own line trace functionality. And so there is a thing called PCG in Unreal Engine, which is what's spawning everything. And that's based, it's usually based off of Unreal Engine collision. Mine is not though. I wrote a few of my own nodes to take in this data and output the sampled points and stuff like that. So that's how I'm saving memory. And then these are all instant static meshes, and turns out instant static meshes actually use very little memory. It's actually quite performant, so I'm happy with that. And that paired with nanite will allow me to keep these in memory and make sure that the nav mesh works properly with them. Anything that doesn't affect the nav mesh, I get rid of. Like all this grass here, you'll notice that's not rendered over here. It doesn't affect the nav mesh, doesn't have collision on it. Get rid of it. I cache it, I serialize it, we get rid of it. I don't care about it until the chunk loads again. So I also have a kind of an LRU cache system. Now there are some resources, like, I don't know if I can find any, but there's some mushrooms in the forest and stuff. Like right there, there's some mushrooms. And the colonist will get hungry, and if you don't have any food in your colony, they'll run around and try to get some food, right? And what happens when they're in an unloaded part of the world where I don't save that mushroom because it doesn't affect the nav mesh because I'm trying to save on memory and stuff like that. Well, the LRU cache will load in the food related resources from disk that have been cached on disk, and it'll allow the entity to kind of query through that data and look for like the closest one, and it'll remove it from that data and then save it back to disk. So that's how I'm handling having the whole world running even when you're not there. And I will probably need to make the map smaller. It's about 1.5 kilometers big, 128 chunks by 128 chunks. And for a reference, there's one terrain chunk right there. So it is quite big. So I will probably need to tone it down a bit. I'll probably need to cut it in half or something, you know. What the green dude's doing, they're probably running around looking for food. That's what they do. They're hungry. They have like a hunger meter, and so they're just like running around looking for food. But the green guys are like the colonists that you can actually like talk to and stuff. Hello. Okay, so I have AI generated quests too, and usually they have character data. This guy's dumb and aggressive, okay, but he's a 0-year-old warrior, so I'm gonna generate a quest. And so this is actually like hitting the Gemini API, and I dump my entire game database, all of the items in my game, which isn't very much right now, but, and then I dump everything that's spawned into the world into a prompt. And then I would just say, hey, generate a fantasy RPG video game quest and put it into this JSON format. And it actually does a pretty good job of that. Most, like 99% of the time, it'll return me something interesting. But yeah, because I passed it the character info, like all of these have character infos, and I changed it to not do that. But usually they have like backgrounds and stuff. But this was a 0-year-old warrior, so the AI thought it was a baby. And it says, a strange baby warrior asked me to protect or kill a wormling egg. It wants me to investigate the Whispering Caves because livestock has been disappearing and strange noises have been coming from there. Objective, investigate the Whispering Caves and deal with the source of the livestock disappearances and the wormling egg. And then here are my objectives. Let's see what its dialogue was. Googa, Briar, need protect egg, wormling kill. Why do you need me to do this? The baby gurgles and points instantly at Imogen, which is me, that's my name, and then back towards a vague direction. Goo, Briar, strong. What can you tell me about these Whispering Caves, baby? The midwife, rather than the baby. Oh, apparently the AI thinks there's a midwife next to us. The midwife, rather than the baby, responds. Whispering Caves are a cluster of caves out to the west. They're not usually inhabited except by pests now and again. I'm not sure why the boy is so insisting about the place. I'll do it. Googa. Perfect. So usually when I pass it some actual information, it'll generate a non-ridiculous quest. World looks fantastic. Thank you, Wood Dragon. Welcome in. My only complaint, you aren't using Windows. I am using Windows. Why does everyone always comes in and asks me what I'm using? It's just Windows. Just Windows. WoW has static paths, but you could have some generative paths where you can go to any point to point, but would require your Griffin to rest or something. An interesting idea. Yeah. I'll definitely be generating it'll be like a spline, and I know like the world is already divided into chunks, and for each chunk I know what the maximum height is. Like I store that information, so it'll be very possible for me to just like kind of come up with a spline path that doesn't intersect any terrain. It won't be too bad. Won't be too bad to do it. It's not an MMO. No, it will not be an MMO. You develop games? Yeah, just hobby, free time, solo project stuff. A baby just gave a quest and ran away on 2 feet. Yeah, I know. That baby was 6 feet tall, too. That was a fucking big-ass baby. That's a big baby. Holy shit. I wonder, let me turn back on the character info real quick. And then we'll get it to generate like an actual quest here. Yeah, let's just comment all that out. So we'll run live coding there, and we'll get it to actually we'll get it to actually like generate a quest. Does this game have emotes? No, not at the moment. Still very, very early in the process. None of the assets are even final. I don't even have a name. It's just called my project. I saw the root thing on the left. And I thought you were using Linux. Oh no, it's just like a little visual music player, so you guys know it's playing. So yeah, we'll run live coding here, and then we'll generate some AI quests that actually are interesting and not just. I mean, honestly, the baby one was kind of interesting though, right? Like, that was not a quest you see every day. That was not a quest you see every day. Now this is it's a random stream I can watch. Yeah, if you're looking for a stream with 6-foot-tall babies, then you're in the right place. Am I a 6-foot-tall baby? So yeah, we're just generating the world. After the world generates, I spawn, and PCG is going to start to spawn. Start populating the world with all this stuff. And then the nav mesh will start generating here soon. I just fell. And then entity spawn. What are you making? I'm making a video game. RPG Colony Sim Roguelite with procedural destructible terrain. And it'll also have AI generated quests, but we need to go find the colonist. Right now, all I'm getting are enemies. Oh, there's some over there. Okay, so we're gonna go over here and generate a quest from one of these guys. The red guys are just enemies that wander around. The colonists. Okay, who do we have here? Okay, we have, I don't actually know. Hang on. Larkin Weaver, 51-year-old male human shaman who is resilient and peaceful. In his childhood, Larkin's quiet strength was evident from a young age, enduring hardship without complaint. They found solace in nature, their calm demeanor a stark contrast to their resilience. In their adulthood, as a shaman, Larkin is calming presence. Their peaceful nature a beacon in troubled times. They are a firm believer in diplomacy and understanding and always seek a peaceful resolution. Wait, come back. Okay, what's your quest? Oh god. Okay, this is a big one. Welcome, child of nature. I sense and the AI generated quest, by the way. AI generated quest. Welcome, child of nature. I sense the green heart strong within you. A boon and a burden these days. The balance of the Whispering Woods is disturbed. Now, one thing I noticed about the AI, like the Gemini AI, is that it loves the Whispering Woods. Like literally every other quest mentions the Whispering Woods. And so I hope to like update the prompt to actually include the zone information that we're in to help with that. But the balance of the Whispering Woods is disturbed. A darkness encroaches, not of fell beasts or wicked men, but something more subtle, more insidious. Will you aid me in righting this imbalance by going to the Stillwater Glade and assessing the situation? Tell me more about the Stillwater Glade. It's a place of peace and tranquility, where the veil between the material world and the spirit world is thin. The spring water there is said to have healing properties, and the willow is as old as time. It serves as a nexus of druidic power. And so I actually have a section in the JSON that it responds to me with for if it wants to spawn anything. And I give it all the classes in my database, so it's very likely that it could have picked a tree asset and spawned it somewhere. It's not like really working that well, but it is possible for the so this tree that they're talking about, this willow, that is theoretically something that I could have spawned in the world as a part of this quest. And if I look over here on the left in my objectives, these are all encoded in the JSON as well. And so the Explorer objective needs like a location. And I would guess that the JSON that it gave me, the location for the tree that it spawned, is the same location that you need to explore. So that would be how that works. What signs of darkness should I be looking for? Anything unnatural, twisted trees, sickly plants, unnatural sounds. Oh, so it could also spawn some like... it could also probably spawn some like corrupted looking things as well here. And that's what it wants me to explore. So that's also an option. But it would be really cool to get this AI to actually spawn like points of interest in the world. I am also going to be spawning my own points of interest, so I will be feeding those to the AI. So it's probably better to have the AI pick from one that already exists rather than try and create its own. But I think what would be really cool is to just spawn like little bits of flavor in the world to add to these quests and stuff to make sure that they're grounded. If animals are acting strange or they're more aggressive than normal, that is also a sign. So that part's going to be hard to encode. Larkin Weaver has asked me to investigate a disturbance in the Whispering Woods. Starting with the Stillwater Glade and its ancient willow, I must check the water's purity and look for any signs of unnatural blight, unusual creature activity, or unnatural silence. I will. Good. Journey to the Stillwater Glade, a place touched by the purest spring water in the wood. The heart of the glade is a large, ancient weeping willow. Check to see if that heart of the Stillwater Glade is still beating, and see that the water still flows pure. Return swift and be wary. This darkness is subtle, and will try to hide itself from prying eyes. AI doing this on the fly or generated when the world is created. So right now I just like, over here. I just have this generate quest button. So I click that and it does it. But eventually I will kind of do these up a little bit up front, a little bit kind of like as the game goes on, you know. I'm thinking of having like a pool to pick from, you know what I mean? And I do want to run like some local models as well and see how that goes. I haven't like looked into it very much, but hopefully we can get some really small local models that can run on end users' machines and that can generate, you know, just a little bit of dialogue, a little bit of banter, you know, give these colonists a little bit more personality as you recruit them to your colony or you find them out in the world and stuff like that. So yeah, that's a little bit about the game. What you're making, talking babies with dangerous quests and choppable trees. Yeah, that's the game. Well, you got a feature, if you touch a random chicken in the village, the entire community comes after you. Oh yeah, you know, you accidentally steal like a wooden spoon, and then everyone just fucking murders you. Yeah. The woods must be whispering a lot. They do in this game, I guess. The whispering trees, the whispering bees, the whispering grass, yeah. And hopefully, like, you know, for those who are just tuning in, we have a procedural world here. This is it. This is the world map that I have so far. Each one of these zones has like a name, like the Ageless Woods, the Goblin Warren, the Runestone Gorge, Void Crest Peaks, Emberglow Thicket, which are also AI generated names. But hopefully I'll get these names more grounded in relation to like what the zone actually is. You know, like this is a meadow. This is a desert. This is a swamp called Shadowbane Hollow. So that kind of makes sense, right? That's one that kind of makes sense. This is a mountain called the Armor of Invincibility. That doesn't really make sense, right? Beacon Hills is a swamp. Swamps aren't very hilly from what I found. Howling Fjord. But yeah, I'll be passing in like the zone names for like what zone the colonist is in when it generates the quest, and then maybe also some of the neighboring zones so that it can generate, you know, maybe some larger scale quests where you have to go from zone to zone. Very few of those though, probably. My only concern is that you do really have to wait to ensure that the AI produces integrity data. Yeah, a lot of work to do there. A lot of work to do there for sure. What's the game? This is the project I'm working on. Just kind of solo hobby dev project. It's a RPG Colony Sim Roguelite with procedural destructible terrain. And then we were just showing off some AI generated quests here as well. Let's get, who's this guy over here? Oh, do you not have a name? Hang on, what's your deal? Oh yeah, you're a dumb aggressive baby as well. Let's find a not baby. I must have ran out of names in the character database. Because I do have like the AI generated backgrounds and stuff, but those aren't generated every time, right? That would be a lot. I generated a bunch and stored them in a database. And so I think we have like over 1,000 entities spawned right now. Oh Jesus, I almost fell down in there. Hey Steve, welcome in, hello. Cool game, thank you. If not, can we just get John Connor to sort out Skynet if the AI... Yeah, I mean, I think you are John Connor. Okay, who is this? Also a fucking baby. Can I have a not baby, please? I need a not 6 foot tall baby. And the reason I'm calling them babies is because if they don't have any character info, they default to a 0-year-old warrior, which the AI ends up thinking it's a baby. Okay, should we just do another Larkin Weaver quest, I guess? I was hoping to get like a different class, because the class I find is impacts the quest the most. No, generate your quest. Generate it. Stop being so lame. Cool project, buddy. Hope to see you on stream soon. Hell yeah, thanks for stopping by. I hope to stream more soon myself. The Whispering Woods. What? Tell me about these Whispering Woods. Okay, can you finish generating your quest there, Bubbo? Infant warriors? I think you can get canceled for that. Hey, it's the AI. It wasn't me. It's not my fault. Okay, let me look at the logs here. Let me look at the logs. Pause. There's probably too many logs. Yeah, there's too many. It already got like overridden. Yeah, I don't know. That quest might have failed to serialize or something. Oh, there's another one down there. Oh yeah, you can join my colony, I guess. Yeah, okay. Let's go down here. See if this guy has some, oh god. Ow. My bones. AI question generation? Yes. Okay, Carrot Raven. Alright, Carrot. What's your deal? 32-year-old female elf warrior. Okay, sick. Traits are timid and charismatic. So we'll see what the AI does with that. And in their background, Kara grew up in a traveling circus. Wow, okay. Learning to entertain crowds with their surprising agility and charisma. Despite the cheers, Kara remained painfully shy off stage. In the adulthood, when the circus disbanded, Kara found themselves adrift. Their combat skills were self-taught, honed through necessity and a knack for self-preservation. What is your quest? Okay. Silver's tier isn't a pleasure. Oh, my name. What is my name? Wait, what's my name? What is Silver's tier? Hang on. Oh yeah, my name is my character's name is Drev Silver's tier. So that's my last name apparently. Silver's tier isn't a pleasure, or well, I hope it will be. I have a bit of a predicament, and you seem capable. There's a traveling merchant, Alara Willowbrook. And this is cool because Alara Willowbrook is spawned in the world somewhere and has like background info as well, just like this character did. So the AI probably picked that, looked at the background info, and saw like the background info probably has something in it about a merchant. So that's really cool. There's a traveling merchant, Alara Willowbrook, who sets up camp just north of here near the Whispering Woods. Dude, these fucking Whispering Woods, man. I want, like, there has to be like some D&D module on the internet or something that this is pulling from, you know? She normally comes every other week, but she hasn't been seen for almost a month. And another thing I like is that because of the timid personality trait that this colonist had, the AI was like, making the dialogue kind of that way. Yeah, the Whispers of Disappearance, that's the quest name. Tell me more about this stone. Wait, what stone? It didn't mention a stone. Yeah, and sometimes it doesn't. It doesn't encode everything into the dialogue. Some of it's in the quest objective. So let's read that real quick. Carrot Raven has asked me to investigate the disappearance of a merchant, Alara Willowbrook, who was last seen near the Whispering Woods. She believes Alara may be in danger and is also concerned about a stone that belonged to her brother. See, she didn't tell me about that, which Alara carries with her. I need to find Alara's camp and look for any signs of what might have happened to her. Tell me more about this stone. It's a smooth gray stone, nothing too special to look at, but it was a gift from my brother before he went to war. He never came back. If anything, it would mean everything to me, at least to have that stone. And also there's a question for what are gnashers? I don't know. They're like rabid wolves, but smaller, faster too, and they travel in packs. Best to avoid them if you can, but if you can't, try to stay on your guard. So the quest objective is to investigate the disappearance of the merchant Alara Willowbrook near the Whispering Woods. So explore Alara's camp. I'll help you find Alara. Thank you, truly. Please be careful in the Whispering Woods. Keep an eye out for signs of struggle, broken cartwheels, anything unusual, and watch out for the gnashers. Nasty little creatures, those. So yeah, there's another AI quest that also involved the fucking Whispering Woods. Next, the AI will be instructing you on a suicide mission. I hope so. That'll be kind of cool, honestly. Yeah, there's no... that's Carrot Raven. They're just, like, running around. Val Ash. Here's another one. Whispers of Sudoku. Yes, my Sudoku game has gone missing. Who do we have here? We have Val Ash, 29-year-old female elf shaman who is selfish and generous, which doesn't make sense. We'll see what the AI does with that. When will it be released? Ask me again in 5 years. Childhood. Val grew up ostracized for their strange connection to spirits, often seen talking to unseen entities. So it's another shaman. I don't know why so many get generated as shamans. They embrace their role as shaman, using their connection to spirits to protect those they deem worthy. So kind of a generic background. Oh, I accidentally generated. Oh my god, this one's so long, and my UI just does not handle this, does it? The spirits whisper of a blight young druid. Oh, I'm a druid. Okay. A creeping sickness is poisoning the Whispering Woods. My own connection isn't strong enough to face it. Pierce the veil. I did something. I can't. Something. Blossoming bloom. Gloom sing bloom. A rare flower that something. Old growth. Legends say it grows with the essence of pure life energy. Beware, the old growth is not welcoming to strangers. Twisted vines and corrupted creatures guard its secrets. Find the cleansing bloom and consume its petals. Only then will you be ready for the next step. So it actually is generating a quest chain. So I actually have the AI capable of giving me an array of quests of these JSON objects. It's been 5 years. Oh god, is the game good? Or do I still have bugs in 5 years? Tell me. Be honest. Bring 3 petals back to me as well. My methods are less refined than yours. Oh, okay. Tell me more about this cleansing bloom. It's a rare flower said to grow only where the earth's energy is purest. Its petals glow with a life force that can cleanse corruption. What dangers should I expect in the old growth? The old growth is home to twisted creatures corrupted by the blight. Be wary of their attacks and watch out for traps laid by those who seek profit from the forest's suffering. LS Dev, is the game ? Yes. We all still have game bugs, but it's good. Okay. You know, you win some, you lose some. Yeah, I gotta find, I'll accept your quest. And I accidentally generated another one. So is that, God damn, you were so fast. Whisper Woods woes. Dude, the fucking Whispering Wood, man. The winds whisper upsettling tales. The spirits of the Whisperwood Grove are agitated. Speaking of an encroaching darkness, investigate the source of their unrest. Look for signs of the blight. You are new here, Druid, yes? I sense the raw power of nature within you. I have a task that will benefit both of us. Perhaps it is too early in your life, so feel free to refuse it if it seems like too much. It's very, very reasonable. Val Ash has asked me, Dev Silver's tier, to investigate the Whisperwood Grove. The spirits are agitated by a blight that threatens the forest's life. I need to find the source of this blight and bring back evidence. So explore Whisperwood Grove, obtain evidence of blight, talk to Val Ash. What kind of blight are we talking about? That's what troubles me, Druid. I cannot see it clearly, as if it is a shroud that has been cast, obscuring its true nature. But I feel its gnawing presence like a parasite feeding on the forest's vitality. Why can't you investigate yourself? My connection to the physical earth is strong, rooted in this land. The spirits tell me the answer is outside of it. Something coming from without. I must remain here to protect the village should this blight spread. Your freedom of movement makes you ideal for this task. I'm not ready for this. I understand perhaps in time you'll be willing to aid the forest. Quest accepted. How many quests do I have? Oh, my quest log is kind of broken. Okay. It's a big world out there. We gotta stick together. I don't know, some cringy shit. Oh, there's Carrot Raven again, just running around looking for food. This looks like a nice little valley for a colony. I would love to start a colony here. It looks so quaint and cute. But yeah, we got some work to do. So enough yapping. But thank you all for tuning in. Thank you all for tuning in. Love the way the game is coming along. Thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah, so what am I working on today? I need to actually, like, make these colonists, like, join the colony and stuff. So I can do like join my colony, and then I select a default player colony, and then they've got like these tasks that show up. Task type none target. Yes, of course. Or so I can tell them to forge forever, chop trees until amount, and construct forever. I need to come up with a better interface for that, but just a few tasks that you can do for now. And I think the tree chopping is actually broken, so I don't think they can actually... I don't think they actually understand how to chop trees yet. But yeah, that's all that happens. So technically, that Carrot Raven is now part of my colony. Technically. But I actually need to like figure out the loop of the game, because like I haven't built anything yet, right? So like, if the player starts the game, comes across a colonist, and they recruit the colonist, or like try to, like, what's the first thing that like, and you haven't built anything, so the colonist doesn't know like where to go or anything, you know? I think maybe I did write down some notes about this. on what I think it should maybe start a quest to like build something before you can like recruit a colonist. That way the colonist has somewhere to like hang out around. I think actually the simplest version of this though is like just literally what I have now. And you know, if you have jobs that need to be done, you know, constructing a building, you know, foraging or whatever, the colonists will just go do that, right? So I'm working on this new game's loop. We were able to prove that multiplayer is functional last night. Hell yeah, that sounds like a huge step. Spoilers from the future, your game is called My Settlement. So 2030 comes with small upgrades. Hey dude, we figured out the name. Hell yeah. That's huge. My Settlement, huh? My Settlement. Not My Little Pony. My level zero warrior. My level 0 warrior. A 6-foot tall baby. Okay. I do like the quest though, because I think that kind of explains to the player a little bit and guides the player a little bit more. But that's not the... I typically like to do just like the easiest version and iterate on that. And right now I kind of already have the easiest version working. And so the only option or the things to do moving forward would just be to work on Colony Sim things so that they have more things to do. I should probably get tree chopping working and construction working. I don't think construction is even working right now because I switched from behavior trees to state trees. So yeah, I need to rewrite some of those tasks. And then like if there is something to build or, you know, do, then they'll just go do it, right? And because they know where the colony stuff is just by nature of the way I write the code. Am I frozen? Oh no, we're just player could build a town center like Age of Empires. Yeah, I do think I do want some sort of town center building, and I love that you love Age of Empires. You're a man of culture. I appreciate that, or a person of culture. I do want a type of building like that. I don't want to restrict the player. I don't like it when games like are like, oh, you have to like, you know, build some building in order to build a colony, and you can only build a colony in, you know, this radius around it, right? I don't like when games do that, so I do want to like incentivize building a town center. Like I think there will be some like benefits and bonuses that you get from that. Maybe that unlocks some like new jobs, some new management capabilities for the player. You know, it's just someplace, I'm thinking it's someplace for the player to go to that they can manage like the colony's priorities, right? The individual colonist priorities and stuff like that. And then when you build the town center, that's when you can actually like give your colony a name. Otherwise it's just kind of like an outpost, you know? And so I think like at first, before you get to that stage, hey man, how you doing, Marcoli? Welcome in. UI is like a prison sentence to most of us. Hey, I've been a front-end dev, full-stack dev for a long time. You just gotta do your time. Yeah. I would rather just use like React within Unreal Engine. I feel like that would be nice. We also have one of the main systems in the game fully functional and replicating, so now we just work on the fun stuff UI. Ah, I see. You have the main quest, start a colony, then have a subquest, things you need to do to build up the colony. Yeah, that is what I'm thinking. That's kind of what I'm getting at with something like this. And I do think that is the route that I'll end up going. I don't know if that's what I'm going to work on now, because like it's just not the simplest version of this system. But I do think it's a really good way to teach the player, right? It's a great way to teach the player what the game is and what you need to do to start a colony. Because if you just get plopped down in this world and, you know, you're not going to know what join my colony means. You're not going to know. You're not going to know. Simple as that. Or the player could first get a colonist and use the first colonist to build structures. Yeah, so like right now that would work. But then how would you teach the player that, you know, you can also build structures as a player? But yeah, also an option. Also an option. That's why I'm kind of like batting around the... So maybe you can have the colonists join you, and also it starts a quest to build stuff, to start a colony. You know? A tutorial without being one. Yeah, that's what I like in games, where it like... There's no... Like, I hate when games start you in like this claustrophobic-ass space, and it's the tutorial, and it's like an hour long, you know? And it's like once you get through the first little dungeon or area or whatever, then the game opens up and, you know, there's this big world you can go explore or something like that. I kind of hate when games do that. I hate when games don't let me go wherever I want to. I feel like I'm too on... It feels like an amusement park ride. It feels like I'm too on the train tracks, you know? Let me go make mistakes, you know? Teach me as I go. Don't like just, you know, spooge all this information at me, you know, at the beginning of the game. So yeah, tutorial without being one is definitely what I prefer. And that's just, the game introduces things to you gradually as you go. When and where it's relevant, you know. Player onboarding almost as fun as UI. Yeah, these are all fun things. I don't hate UI though. I don't hate UI that much. You allow the player to place a structure and ask the colonist to build a structure. Yeah, yeah. But I mean, you won't need to, you can ask them to build a structure, but you won't necessarily need them to ask, because they'll just have priorities. If you ever played RimWorld, you'll understand what I mean. And let the player skip the tutorial stuff if they've already done it. I don't like it. I think if you build the game well enough, one, you won't have a tutorial, and two, you won't need the players to skip anything, because like Hasty says, a tutorial without being one, like it's just the game explains itself, you know. So hopefully there would be, my goal would be for there to not be that at all. My goal would be to not even need to have the player skip anything. Am I using Unreal Engine? Yes. There he goes. There he goes. You want it to be built that well that you don't need a tutorial, but I will assure you if you want, well, let me see. If I want to play with my girlfriend, WASD is already hard, so tutorial is good to have. Yeah, well, hopefully controller support solves that issue for a lot of people. But yeah, I'm sure when the player starts the game, will be like, yes, you can left click to click on things, WASD to move. Like, you know, that's like bare minimum. That's like, I'll just show that on screen for a second, you know. I don't see that as a tutorial, I just see that as showing the player controls for a second, you know. Well, the colonists have an AI like Skyrim, so they can do stuff without the player's instructions. Yep, that's what I'm talking about, like a priority system. It will be better than Skyrim. You could get some scan, like post-process, and make the day-night cycle go real fast if they choose to skip the tutorial. Again, I assure you, I'm gonna have no need to skip a tutorial for this game. Watch me. Say I won't, I fucking will. Do not think you need a tutorial until you watch people play the game and get confused by the most trivial things. I mean, the game is a sandbox, so I'm creating a world for the player to interact with and explore and, you know, do things. And, you know, World of Warcraft, Vanilla WoW, never had a tutorial. There's no tutorial in Vanilla WoW. There's a starter zone. And what they did is they just gradually increased the systems that they told to the player, and players still loved it. Players figured it out. And yeah, some people aren't going to understand how to play it, and that's okay. That's okay. If they're not interested in it, they won't figure it out. Creating a tutorial just to cater to the bottom denominator of a player that wouldn't even really play your game, right? Like, it's like, who are you making the game for? People that wouldn't actually play the game long term anyway? Like, I'm okay with losing some of those to create a better experience for the players who actually enjoy and would enjoy the game. And yeah, the basics, you know, use WASD to move, you know, move the mouse to move the camera. You can click on things, right click to attack, you know, like press these numbers down. Like, I mean, I don't know. These are self-explanatory, right? Like click the numbers on the keyboard to use the abilities. Like that's in every game. Yeah. Am I making RDR 0. Is that Red Dead Redemption? No cowboys here. Cowboys actually aren't real as well. Plenty of games are taught best by the community that grows around it, and a lot of games need that. Yeah, another good point. I think the sandbox here a game is, actually the less it needs a tutorial, because the game is about figuring out how it works, right? That's part of the fun. I don't like... You know what the worst thing is? You know what the worst thing is? You're playing a game. Maybe you've played it for a couple hours, and you get to like it introduces some new system to you, and then like a big ass full screen modal pops up with all this text about how this system works. And it has like little like, you know, embedded videos and shit. And I'm just like, dude, that's like that doesn't feel like the right way to handle that. That does not feel like the right way to handle that. I think it's more so just about giving the player enough information on screen, like not in that form, but like, you know, like how do I figure out what these stats do, right? I have them on the mace, right? And then I also have like armor, you know, I have the character stats here. And then I have like damage, and I'll have others. I'll have more stuff there, but like you can just see what happens when you equip the weapon, right? I don't need to have a full, you know, screen's worth of information about how stats work in the game, right? And what their formulas are. It's kind of a bad example, but my point is, I don't think a game should ever need to just like, just fucking splat a bunch of information on the screen like that. That happens a lot in recent games I played too. Yeah, it just feels like... I feel like it's either a combination. It could just be lazy explanations, right? This is just like the easiest form of trying to explain that. So it could just be lack of time, you know? But I also think it's kind of a symptom of the system not naturally fitting in the game very well. Like if you need that much upfront explanation for a system in the game, either the system is just like very complex for no reason, or it doesn't fit in the game very much, or you just didn't have time to write, like, you know, to make it more cohesive. Kind of feel like that's the case, right? Will there be any unique mechanics in the game? If so, how do you plan to let the players know about the mechanic? They can just interact with the game, and they can... I mean, if you make an action and the world or the game reacts to that action, and you can see that, that's all you need to do, right? And that's noticeable, that's accessible to people to see. You know, like I was saying, this weapon has stats on it, you know, maybe the other weapons don't. And eventually you're going to get to a weapon that has stats like this one. And then you're going to see when you equip it, look at my health. Look at my health. My health is now increased. And I'm regenerating. Like, what do these tick bars do? What do they do? Oh, it got to the end and it regenerated my health and mana. Right? Like, you don't need to explain every single thing. As long as you're giving the players the information they need to figure it out for themselves, that's a lot more fun. Because then it feels like I'm playing the game and the game isn't playing me. Like, I hate that feeling when I get in the game. And like... the game is just telling me everything to do and not letting me either figure it out on my own, make my own decisions, go my own direction. This is why I can't play games like God of War anymore. Like, I used to love games like that when I was a kid, but now it's like I'm just on rails. I'm on a train track, you know? So, even the God of War world was like there were some open worldish parts, but it was really just a hub with different, you know, linear directions to go. And I want to be let free, and I want to explore and interact the way I want to, and I don't want the game to tell me how everything works and stuff. And I think sandboxy games are great at that. But as far as like what unique mechanics will be in the game, you know, like the one that I have never seen a game do is like the dynamic tree chopping, right? Oh god, that guy was so glitchy. And so in most games, when you chop a tree, it just chops the same way every time. It just like, you know, there's a mesh for when it's unchopped, there's a mesh for like half chopped, and then there's a mesh for post chop, stump, and trunk, and it's the same every time. And you know, eventually the players are going to figure out like, oh, if I hit it over here, oh, that's on a different side. Let me see this. You know, eventually they're going to figure out like, oh yeah, it actually chops the direction that I'm in. It actually chops where my axe is. So like, they're gonna be able to interact with that system. Be like, wait, if I go on this side, you know, after chopping on that side, does it go faster? And if I was at the same height, it probably would. You know, so there's a bit of a unique system that you don't really need to explain to the player that is the case. That's kind of a bad example. Like I don't have like a super complex, heavy-handed system in the game that I need to explain. I guess the Colony Sim one is going to be, you know, it's going to have a lot of similarities between other Colony Sims, but I think from a high-level perspective, having an RPG in Colony Sim, I think I've only seen like Medieval Dynasty is the only game I've seen that has done that, so that'll probably be pretty new to most players. Having to manage a colony from a third-person perspective rather than like an omniscient perspective is going to be, it's going to be different, and there's going to be some design challenges there. But I think quests are a great way to teach the player how to do things while also it not being a tutorial and still being something that every player does, no matter how seasoned they are, how many playthroughs they do. Like a quest gives you XP and rewards and stuff. Why not, right? You're incentivizing the player to go through that process. And it's, for the Colony Sim side of things, it's like, you know, you're going to do that stuff anyway. So you might as well do the quest to get the XP and stuff. You already know how to do it and stuff. It's a little free XP up front, you know? Doesn't Sons of the Forest do it? Oh, do they? I've only watched that game once. I'm unaware. Oh, is that the game with the Kelvin guy who's like deaf and mute or something, and you have to like show him the commands and shit? Is that game? For that reason, there are pop-ups on startup like, I am new to Colony Sim, I am new to RPG, I am new to games, and show different helps. Yeah, I don't like that either. I don't like that either. I think that's kind of a cop-out, right? Like, that's a sign of the thing you made is not very accessible. And there are reasons beyond new players to making things accessible. And I learned that at Google. Like, that's actually one of the good lessons I was taught during my onboarding. It's like they made, I forget what app it was, but they were working on an app, and like, there was like a disabled person who could really benefit from the app, but they only had one arm. And so they couldn't use the app very well because they didn't have two hands. And so they changed the app to work better for people who are one-handed. And it ended up being better for everyone. Because it turns out, you know, mothers, when they're carrying their babies, can use it better. And, you know, people can just use it on the go better. It's just easier to use for everyone. And so when you make things more accessible, you can oftentimes have positive side effects beyond what you expect. And so that's part of why I think accessibility is important, because you never really know. You may think you know what you're doing it for, but then you may have some other positive side effects that you didn't foresee. Noob question allowed on stream? Yeah, all questions are allowed on stream. Are viewers playing with you? No, I wish I had that capability. This is just a game I'm developing, so super early in the development process. Doesn't even have a name yet. It's all just placeholder assets and stuff. So yeah, I think for now I just need to iterate on some Colony Sim tasks for a bit. Let me think here. Yeah, for now, I mean, they just need. First of all, I need to change their hunger. They're way too hungry all the time now. So let's change their hanky state. State tree entity. Colonist roots. I forget what I like start these at. Less than or equal to 50 means they're sleepy. Let's go like 20. Hangy, yeah, we'll just also go 20. And then maybe I just need to slow down the hunger rate now. Then I know that like, well, we'll keep it the same, I guess. But what is the like, I forget how I like initialize the values here. How do I initialize the value? Oh yeah, I have the gameplay effect that does that. I forgot. Such as new character attributes. Yes, that's what it is. Character level is 1. Food, we start at 50. So let's just start food at 100. Same with sleep. 100. Gameplay logic streams, question mark. What do you mean? How will you implement the building of colonies like Medieval Dynasty, having pre-made buildings, or like Valheim that you can design everything yourself? More so like Valheim, more modular for sure. But I think I'll probably like allow you to have prefabs, you know, where like you've connected the modular pieces and then you can like save it, you know, to kind of make that easier. Because unlike Valheim, my buildings do not immediately build. Like you have to bring the resources to them and manually construct them. And I know that sounds like super annoying, and on paper it is, but that's what the Colony Sim system is for. Like blueprints, yeah. Yeah. So when I spawn, I'll show that here for a second. Okay, fatal error, wonderful. Wonderful, I love that. Wait, what the hell?